live stream math tutoring for mathcelebrity.com. Go through some problems here, and these came in last night over the last 24 hours from parents and students across the world. So let's walk through them. You and Michael have the sum of 1975. If Michael has 825, how much more do you have? Okay, so this is actually a two-part question, and it trips some people up. So if you and Michael have 1975 and Michael has 825, then you have 1975 minus 825 equals 1150. But that's not the answer. So a lot of students and parents get tripped up on this. They think that they asked for the difference. They do not. They said, how much more do you have? So overage or more excess than Michael equals your money minus Michael's money. And then we have both those numbers. We've got 1150 minus 825. Doing some quick math here. Very good. Okay. And then overage equals 325. So the answer is 325. You have $3.25 more than Michael. So we're going to do subtraction. And then get an equation in there too. So that is that one. Let's move on. Triple the sum of 36 and 6, add 4. Okay. This one is an algebraic expression. So let's take it in parts. Take this algebraic expression in parts. The sum of 36 and 6, 36 plus 6. Now we can simplify this, but for algebraic expressions, we're just going to leave it as is. Triple the sum means we multiply the sum by 3. 3 times 36 plus 6. Then add 4. Okay, so we've got this part of the expression. Add 4. Now, if you want to simplify this, if the problem asks you, I'm going to bold this because this is technically the algebraic expression, to simplify the expression, we have 3 times 42 plus 4, because 36 plus 6 is 42. 3 times 42 is 126 plus 4, and then we have 130. So 108 plus 18, yep, 130. So we've got algebraic expressions, order of operations. Done. All right, what else we got? Here's a literal equation. A equals V squared divided by R for R. Okay. So start by cross multiplying. AR equals V squared, because we can multiply the denominator of this times this. Divide each side of the equation by A to isolate R. AR over A equals V squared over A. Cancel the A's on the left side, and we get R equals V squared divided by A. So that's it. So our first move was cross multiply, get the R out of the denominator. To get R out of the denominator, I should have said that for the reason why. And then once we had R out of the denominator, we get rid of everything that is not R on the left side, and we got our answer. All right. Next, 3 less than a number times itself. Right. So let's start the phrase a number means an arbitrary variable. Let's call it x. Okay. So then it says a number times itself. We've got x. A number times. Okay. So the itself means same variable as above. So we have x times x, x squared. 3 less than this means we subtract 3 from x squared minus 3. So that is our final algebraic expression. Itself refers to a number. A number was declared as an arbitrary variable. We could have done a, b, c, d, x, y. It doesn't matter. I like x. And then we subtracted 3. And so that one's done. All right. Here is another one. Algebraic expression, but this comes with a little bit of a trick. So the sum of 3 numbers, the phrase numbers, means we choose 3 arbitrary variables. Let's call them x, y, z. The sum, okay, so we've got those. The sum of these 3 numbers is x plus y plus z. It's the phrase its product, and we multiply all 3 arbitrary variables together. X, y, z. The sum is x plus y plus z. The product is x, y, z. Now, the phrase divided by, and we divide x plus y plus z by x, y, z. So we take this and we have to wrap this in parentheses because we're dividing by that whole term. So that is our answer. Right. There are 10 more cars than Jeeps. This is another algebraic expression problem. And they've even given you the variable to use. So in the last couple live streams, I say you can choose your own unless it's given. This time it's given. So there are 10 more cars than Jeeps. What that means is Jeeps or cars equal J plus 10. There are 10 more cars than Jeeps. So whatever J is, we add 10 more, we get C. And that is our algebraic expression. Nice and quick. We'll come back to this one because that's a little bit of work. All right. So this one, 10 times 12 divided by 9. We can write this as 10 times 12 divided by 9. For order of operations, we multiply, divide first. So we could do 120 divided by 9 or 108 divided by 10. So 10. Oh no, those are different. wait. 12 divided by 9 times 10. So if we want to do the division first, because there was no parentheses, so we actually have to do this. So we do 12 divided by 9 equals 1.333. Then multiply by 10, 13.3333. So this was an order of operations problem. Here's a unit cost one. Come across these almost every day. A pack of 12 tortillas costs $3.24. Price per tortilla is? Price per tortilla equals total cost divided by total tortillas. And this is just 324 divided by 12. Go off screen here real quick and do the calculator. You'll probably beat me and you get 27 cents. So price per tortilla is 27 cents, which is also known as unit cost. So if you ever hear unit cost or cost per unit, that's what we're doing here. Total cost divided by total quantity, and you get your answer. All right, let's take this one. Sometimes you're asked to build a fraction yourself, but it's worded in algebraic terms. So the problem comes in from our fans as fraction with variable x in numerator and 6 in the denominator. Numerator is the top of the fraction. The denominator is the bottom of the fraction. So we have x in the numerator divided by 6 in the denominator. And that is our answer, x over 6. So fraction. Oh. Hang on. So bird was sitting 12 meters from the base of an oak tree and flew 15 meters to reach the top of the tree. How tall is the tree? So we have a right triangle. Hypotenuse is 15. Base is 12. We want the length of the leg. So let me go off screen here real quick. Okay, so we've got hypotenuse is 15. We don't know I don't care about the angles. Side B is 12. Calculate right triangle. Okay. So I'm going to paste this in here from our calculator because I'm off screen. Now I'm back here. Formula for right triangle relation to sides is a squared plus b squared plus c squared, where c is the hypotenuse and a, b are the sides. So if we rearrange this equation to isolate a, which is one of our sides, we get a squared equals c squared minus b squared. Taking the square root of both sides, we get the square root of c squared. In fact, I can't. Let's just do this. A equals the square root of c squared minus b squared. A equals the square root of what do we got? 15. Okay, so 15 squared minus 12 squared, right? Because those are our two hypotenuse minus one of the sides. We've got the square root of 225 minus 144 square root of 81, which is 9. So the tree is 9 meters high. For this, we had a right triangle. We had hypotenuse, Pythagorean theorem. So what was key here is recognizing that the bird's flight represented a hypotenuse, and that where they were sitting was at the base of the leg where it meets the hypotenuse, and we care about the tree height. Because we assume the tree grows straight up, we have a right triangle. So I'm going to highlight that here. And then with the two sides, we were able to find the third side using the Pythagorean theorem. So that was a biggie. We knocked that one out. All right. Let's see what we got. Yes. So here's a time period before Christ, after death. BC stands for before Christ. Year 0 is when Christ was born. AD stands for after death. Sorry, year 0 is when, Christ was born, and then AD we determine is after death. So really, on a number line, the point of Christ's birth is 0. So BC is really negative. AD is positive. So we have 284 minus negative 64. 284 plus 64, and that is 348. 348. 348 years the chest was hidden, because 64 BC is when it was hidden. The next year is 63 BC. It goes down all the way to 0. So 64 years before Christ's birth, and then another 284 years after the death. And that's how we get 348 years. So we're going to do time. How we fix that one. All right. Let's see what else we got. So here's an age word problem, and we see these on every day that ends in Y. So age word problem. We've got a son is 1/4 of his father's age. The difference in their ages is 30. What is the father's age? So declare variables. Let F be the father's age. Let S be the son's age. We're given two equations. 1, son equals A divided by 4. 1/4 of the father's, F divided by 4. So the son is 1/4 the father's age. The difference in their ages, so we know the father's older, so we do this. F minus S equals 30. This one is the son is 1/4 his father's age. The difference in their ages is 30. And the reason why we subtract S from F is the father is older. So that's key. All right. So using substitution, we substitute equation 1 into equation 2 for S. We have F minus, and then S is really just F over 4. F over 4 equals 30. To remove the denominator fraction, we multiply both sides of the equation by 4. We want to get rid of the denominator. So we have 4f minus 4f over 4 equals 30 times 4. 4f minus f, because the 4's cancel here, equals 120. 4f minus f is really 3f equals 120. All right, we are almost there. To solve for f, we divide each side the equation by 4. We got, or sorry, 3. 3f divided by 3 equals 120 divided by 3. Cancel the 3's on, come on, left side. And we get f equal to 40. So this was also a simultaneous equations problem. If you look at that for a few more seconds. And this will be out on our forum too. So you could find this pretty easily. All right. Very good. What else we got? All right. Here is a quick fractions problem. Bob has 4/5 of a pound of fudge. He wants to share it with Sue. How much of a pound of fudge will both of them get? If Bob shares the fudge with Sue, we assume they split equal parts. This means we take 4/5 total and divide it into 2 for 2 people. 4/5 divided by 2. Dividing this is the same as 4/5 times 1/2 because we can multiply by the reciprocal, which is 4/10. However, this fraction is not simplified. Using greatest, so we'll list out factors of 4 equal 1, 2, 4. Factors of 10 equal 1, 2, 5, 10. In this list, in both of these lists, we see the greatest common factor is 2. So we divide top and bottom of 4/10 by 2. 4 divided by 2 divided by 10 divided by 2 is just 2/5. And so each person, Bob and Sue, Bob gets 2/5 of a pound of fudge, and Sue gets, just copy this, it's way easier. So we split the fraction in 2 to get the fudge per person, but then it wasn't simplified. We should always simplify fractions unless otherwise told. We do that using greatest common factors. If you didn't know that 2 was a common factor of these, you use this little method here. And I can actually, I'm going to underline the winner here because it's the greatest common factor. So this had fraction, division, greatest common factor. Okay, we're making some good progress here. N is a factor of 16. Okay. Since we just did the greatest common factor problem, let's stay on that tip. N equals, so first list out factors of 16. We got 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4. And we can also reverse these. We can do 16 times 1, but we want unique factors. So really, what n is a set, these numbers, 2, 4, 8, 16. From the above list above, we take the 5 unique factors and build a set for n. This is your answer. We got factor, set notation, and we are done. All right. What does the digit 7 in 65.47 stand for? To the right of the decimal place, which is what we care about here, Moving left to right, we have 4 is the tens place. 7 is the hundredths. This is actually tenths place. Hundredths place. So that's your answer. This is just a place value. So the key here is, what are they asking for, left or right of the decimal? Because they're slightly different. And if you're going right, you need to know you start with the tenths, then the hundredths, then the thousandths, and so on. So that's your place value answer. All right. This problem came in, and it's kind of confusing because when you see this, you're wondering what do they mean? The square of a number is positive, and really I've seen these so many times I can decipher what they really want. They want the proof that a square of a number is positive. So take a number n, take a positive number n, positive for n squared equals positive times positive, which is positive. Take a negative n. N can be positive or negative. So test both scenarios. Negative number n. Negative n, and we're going to square that. The parenthesis, come on. Negative n squared equals negative n times negative n, or negative. I'm going to go here just to make this more clear. Squared times n. Or n squared. Negative times negative, which is positive. So negative n squared equals n squared, because a negative times a negative is a positive. So we have proven this. We've tested both scenarios, and we've shown that in either case, the result of the square of a number is positive. All right, moving on. You buy 8 balloons for $1. How many can you buy with 16? Do a little conversion here. 8 balloons for $1 times $16 equals, what's 16 times 8? I'll let you use your calculator. 128. 128 balloons. So if it's 8 per one, for every one, you could read this as, for every $1 you have, you can buy 8 balloons. So $16 times 8 balloons equals 128. 8 balloons per $1. So it's the same thing. So this was a conversion problem. All right. Trisha has $425.82 in her checking account. How much does she have in her account after she makes a deposit of $120.75 and a withdrawal of $185.90? So start with $425.82. Deposits mean we add money to the bank account. So bold that. That is very important. So $425.82 plus the deposit of $120.75 equals, use your calculator, you'll probably beat me, $546.57. Our new balance is $546.57. We'll just put that here. Okay, now, next step is a withdrawal. So withdrawals are the opposite. We subtract money from the bank account. So we had in the last step after the deposit, we had 546.57. We're going to subtract 185.90. 360.67. 60.67. So the key here was deposits mean you add, withdrawals mean you subtract. Anytime you have checking accounts or bank balances where they have withdrawals and deposits, if you know those two facts, you are unbeatable with those problems. That's it. So that one is done. Okay, this is a little bit of algebra and equation. Question comes in, is 9, 6 a solution to the equation y equals x minus 3? The ordered pair x, y equals 9, 6. So your x coordinate is first, y is second. Plug in x equal to 9 into y equals x minus 3. We have y equal to 9 minus 3, y equal to 6. Well, that's great. So if we plug in x equal to 3, x equal to 6, no, x equal to 9, 9 minus 3 is 6, which matches our y coordinate. So 9 does evaluate to y equals 6. Yes, and let's bold this. Yes. 9, 6 is a solution to the equation y equal x minus 3. Equation. That's all right. Here's another age word problem. If you divide my brother's age by 3 and then add 20, you will get my age, which is 31. What is my brother's age? So let B be the brother's age. We're given, divide my brother's age by 3, so we got B divided by 3, and then add 20, you get 31, so equal to 31, same thing as you get. So we've got an equation here we need to solve for B. We're given the following relationship for the brother's age and my age. Okay. So subtract 20 from each side. Because I've got one screen, I'm going to do this manually instead of using my Math Celebrity calculator. B over 3, actually cancel the 20s on the left side, and we get B over 3 equals 11. Okay, great. And let me just check chat. Make sure nobody's coming in here. Great. All right. So B over 3 equals 11. Cross multiply, and we get B equals 3 times 11, because we can cross multiply here. We get a fraction. B equals 33. Now let's check that, because check our work. If we take this equation here, check our work using B equal to 33 for this. So 33 divided by 3 plus 20, question mark 31. We don't know if they're equal. 33 over 3 is 11 plus 20, 31. And yes, indeed, we did this right, 31. Now I want to stop here and show you a valuable lesson. If, as you get faster in math, you gain more time per problem. The more time you have per each problem, the more time you have to check your work and look for silly mistakes. Some of the best people in math you'll ever meet are not that smart. They didn't come from great educational backgrounds, but you know what they do well? They avoid silly mistakes. And so if you have time, just check your work, because you'll catch errors And that's a huge difference that turns wrong problems or wrong answers into right answers. Equation, age word problems. All right. Okay. So here's a finance one. We've been doing heavy algebra, so let's do a little finance. A retired couple invested $8,000 in bonds. At the end of 1 year, they received an interest payment of $584. What was the simple interest rate of the bonds? For simple interest, we have balance times interest rate equals interest payment. Our balance was 8,000. Our interest rate was I 584. So divide each side of the equation by 8,000 to isolate I. 8,000 I divided by 8,000 equals 584 divided by 8,000. Canceling the 8,000s. Left side, we get I equal to, and I'm going to go off screen here and use a calculator. 0.073. Now, sometimes your class will let you answer in decimal for interest rates. Most times, interest rates are expressed as a percentage. Percentage interest equals decimal interest times 100%. So what we have is this 0.073 times 100%. Well, multiplying by 100% is the same as moving the decimal place 2 steps right. So what we have is 7.3%. So that is your interest rate. So what happens is the retired couple invest $8,000. A year goes by. They are credited simple interest. After the year of 7.3%, they get $584 interest. Simple interest finance balance. Very good. All right. So here's an hourly rate. We had a lot of these too. So Luke earns $328 in 8 hours. Find Luke's hourly rate. So we'll do this. Equals total earnings divided by hours worked. Equals 328 divided by 8. $41. So Luke earns 41 bucks per hour. Total earnings divided by hours worked, and you flush out the hourly rate. All right, let's go back to some algebraic expressions. Q increased by the difference between 18 times Q and 5. Take this algebraic parts. 18 times Q. 18Q. Difference between we subtract 5 from 18Q. 18Q minus 5. Q increased. We subtract, or I'm sorry, add 18Q minus 5 to Q. We have to do the parentheses because we are adding an entire term. But because we're adding it, 18Q minus 5. We can do that. So technically, this may be your answer, but if we want to simplify, we group like terms. 1q plus 18q is 19q minus 5. So really, either of these could be the answer. Sometimes they simplify and sometimes they do not. All right. So this candy problem. Ryan buys candy that costs $4 per pound. He will buy at least 12 pounds of candy. What are the possible amounts he will spend on candy? So clue for you, the phrase at least means an inequality. So we've got Ryan buys candy that costs 4 per pound. He will buy at least 12 pounds of candy. So let S be the spend on candy. Cost equals price times quantity. Cost equals dollars per pound times 12 pounds. Cost equals 48. The phrase at least means greater than or equal to. We have S, which is our spend, is greater than or equal to 48. So what are the possible amounts he will spend on candy? He's going to spend 48 minimum, right? At least means that much or more. But it could be any more than that. So we say S is greater than or equal to 48, and that's our answer. That's our inequality. We had an inequality. It was also in algebraic expressions. And we're done. All right. Lewis kept money through a hole in his pocket. He started with 35 cents, lost 20, put in 75 cents, spent 43 cents, lost 16 cents, then put in 14 cents. How much change should there be in his pocket? So I'm going to do this longhand. Start with 35. We lost 20 means we subtract. Put in 75 means we add. Spent 43 means we subtract. Lost 16 means we subtract, and then put in 14. So the phrases, and I want to lay this out. So the phrases put in, we add money to the total phrase. The phrases spent or lost we subtract. So if we take this, so 35 minus 20 plus 75 minus 43 minus 16 and put in 14 cents. I'm going to go to my calculator here. I get 45 cents as the answer. So the answer is 45 cents should be in Lewis's pocket. So change counting, sign operations, sign. All right. Jerry, electrician, works 7 months out of the year. What percent of the year did he work? We know that there are 12 months in a year. Percentage worked equals months worked in a year divided by months in a year times 100%. Percentage worked equals, let me copy this so I don't have to keep typing this. 7 out of 12 times 100%. Go off screen here. 583333 equals 58.33%. Multiplying by 100 means we shift the decimal place 2 spaces to the right. So we move this here to here, we get our percentage. Fractions, converted a fraction to a percentage. All right, here's another temperature one. The temperature in Chicago was 5 degrees Celsius in the morning and is expected to drop by as much as 12 degrees during the day. What's the lowest temperature in Chicago for the day? We start with 5 degrees Celsius. A drop in temperature means we subtract. So we've got 5 minus 12 equals negative 7. Right. These problems may trick you up. Negative 7 or 7 degrees below Celsius, below 0. So you could say that either way. Minus 7 is also 7 below 0. So we got temperature, sign, integer, sign, operations. A recipe of 20 bread rolls requires 5 tablespoons of butter. How many tablespoons of butter are needed for 30 bread rolls? Set up. So this is a proportion problem. We assume recipes that you scale ingredients proportionally. So set up a proportion of bread rolls per tablespoon of butter, where T is the amount of tablespoons butter needed for 30 bread rolls. We're told 20 bread rolls requires 5 tablespoons of butter. Since we scale proportionally, we have 30 bread rolls needs T tablespoons of butter. So I'm going to go off screen here. I'm going to paste all this in from our calculator so you can see how this works. Okay, so let's see here. Cross multiply our proportion. That's how that works. And then we get 20t equals 30 times 5 using this formula, right? 20t equals 150. Divide each side of the equation by t, or 20. 20t over 20 equals 150 over 20. Cancel the 20s on the left side, and we get t equal to 7.5. Whenever you see these problems of x per y and then how many different x per y, it's almost a dead giveaway. It's a proportion. Proportions can cross multiply. There'll always be one variable you solve for, and then you just evaluate and simplify. This one is a, start labeling this because that's what we got. Consecutive integers. Sum of twice an integer and 3 times the next consecutive integer is 48. Let the first integer be n. Next consecutive integer. Actually, we don't have to let. This means the next consecutive integer is n plus 1. Twice an integer means we multiply n by 2, 2n. 3 times the next consecutive integer means we multiply n plus 1 by 3, 3n plus 1. So as you could see, and if you've been on streams before, I like to break these down into parts. So we just did this term. Now we're doing this term. The sum of these is 2n plus 3n plus 1. And then finally, the word is equal to. So and when I say is, I mean this. So we set term equal to 48. All right. That's a lot of work, but we are still not done. So I'm going to pause here so you can look at the screen and see what I did. I took twice an integer first, 3 times the next consecutive integer, and then the sum of those. And then we declared an integer to be n. It can be anything, n, x, a, b. Consecutive means the next one after. So if our integer was 2, the next consecutive integer is 3. We've got our equation here. So multiply through and simplify. Steal the stuff from our calculator, which would be awesome. Yes, I can. Very good. I'm off screen real quick. Just give me a second. I'm going to paste all this in for you. Okay. Solve for n in the equation. 2n plus 3 times n plus 1 equals 48. So this is just a copy and paste from my calculator. We first need to simplify the expression, removing the parentheses. So 3 times n plus 1, when we distribute that term through and simplify, is 3n plus 3. So our new term now that we've distributed the number in the parentheses is 2n plus 3n plus 3 equals 48. We have like terms here. So let's group them and simplify even further. 2 plus 3n is 5n. So this turns into 5n. 5n plus 3 equals 48. Great. Now we have one variable and just about everything's grouped. We want to get rid of the 3 on the left side. So we subtract 3 from both sides. We get 5n equals 45. So my formatting for my calculator is off. 45. So cancel the 5s on the left side, and we get n equal to 9. Just to recap, let's scroll up here because we did a lot of work. An integer could be anything. We chose n. The next consecutive integer is n plus 1. We broke out each term, 1, 3 times the next consecutive integer. The sum, we added them, and then we set it equal to 48. Then we distributed this, group like terms, evaluated, simplified, and we got 9. So a lot of work there. All right, next. Let's see what we got here. LeBron James scored 288 points in 9 games this season. Assuming he continues to score at this constant rate, write a linear equation that represents the scenario. So 288 points divided by 9 games. Let's see what that is. 288 divided by 9 equals 32 points per game. So season score, actually, let G be the number of games LeBron plays. We build an equation for his season score. LeBron's season score equals points per game times number of games. Well, we calculated that the points per game were 32, and G was the number of games. So here is the equation, 32G. We had a unit and conversion equation. Pretty easy there. All right. Can't get through one day without lots of cost functions. All right. A tow truck charges a service fee of $50 and an additional fee of $175 per mile. What distance was Marcos's car towed if he received a bill for 71? Set up a cost equation C of M, where M is the number of miles. C of M equals cost per mile times M miles plus service fee. So this is the variable cost, and your teacher may or may not tell you that term, and this is the fixed cost. So there's always, when you get problems like these, there's always two parts, a fixed cost and a variable cost. So we've broken it out, which is great. Now, plugging in the service fee of 50 and cost per mile of 175, we get C of M equals 175M plus 50. This is our cost equation or cost function. They're called similar names. The problem asks, what distance was Marcos's car towed if he received a bill for 71? The question, let's use wordage, problem and infers a negative, and we want to be positive because we're going to crush these problems. The question asks for what M is C of M equal to 71. So we're told that cost was 71 for Marcos. So C of M is 71. We want to know what M is. So we set C of M equal to 71 and solve for M. I'm going to reverse these because I like my term on the left side equals 71. So I'm going to go ahead, jump off screen here and do this the fast way. All right, post this here. Okay, so this is from my calculator. And then I'm just going to formatting here for what we did. Okay, so we built this, we set our cost function equal to 71 because Marcos's fee was 71. We want to solve for M. So first we group the constants. And to do that, we want to subtract 50 from both sides. We want to isolate M. When we do that, we get 1.75 M equals 21. Now, to solve for M, we want to get rid of the constant of 175. To do that, we divide each side of the equation by 175, and we get M equal to 12. So for a bill of 71, Marcos drove 12 miles. And that's the end of that one. All right. There. Tomato plant has 5 leaves on day 1, 7 on day 3, and 9 on day 5. What is the rate it is growing? So day 1 equals 5 leaves. Day 2 equals 7 leaves. Day 3. Wait, I'm sorry. 5 leaves on day 1, 7 on day 3, and 9 on day 5. All right. So what is the rate it is growing? Well, if we start here, The growth rate looks to be constant, and it's 2 leaves per day. Okay. So it doesn't ask us for an equation and ask what is the rate it is growing. So it's 2 leaves per day. Since 5 plus 2 is 7, 7 plus 2 is 9. That's our answer. Let me just growth rate equals 2 leaves per day. Growth rate. Go here next. Itachi wants to buy apples that weighs 5.7 pounds. Apples are priced at 158 per pound. How much do the apples cost? Cost, we do this every day, price times quantity, or price per pound times number of pounds. Cost equals 158 per pound times 5.7 pounds. So anytime, and you may order online shipping, so you may not see this, but if you go into the grocery store and they have that little weigh scale, when you weigh it, it'll show you the unit cost and then the number of pounds, and then you get a total cost. So this is like 9.01 if you round it. Price per pound times number of pounds, plug in the numbers, simplify, evaluate, and we get cost. Okay, we got 2 left. I'm going to save this one for tomorrow because I got to look into that. Let's do this one. All right. Rachel buys some scarves. Let's just check the chat. Nope, we're good. Okay. Rachel buys some scarves that cost $10 each and 2 purses that cost $16 each. The cost of Rachel's total purchase is $62. What equation can be used to find n, the number of scarves that Rebecca buys? All right. Scarves cost equal cost per scarf times number of scarves. I want to break this out. So cost per scarf is $10 each. And n, we're told n is the number of scarves that Rebecca buys, so it's 10n. Calculate scarves cost. Total cost equals scarves cost plus purses cost. Start here. All right. So next is purses. I'm just going to copy what we did above. Purse. Number of purses. She's got 2, $16 each. Purses cost equals 32. Okay. So now we have everything. So total cost, plug in our numbers and values to the total cost equation. Total cost equals total cost was 62. Actually, I'm going to reverse this because I like my last number on the right side. Total cost. Total cost equals 62. So plug in our numbers and values to the total cost equation. So we have scarves is 10n plus 32 for the purses equals 62, right? We want to solve for n. I am going to go off screen for trusty calculator. and paste to get our answer. All right. So where are we at here? There we go. Save some time. All right. So we do the usual. We get rid of the numbers on the left side. Then we get rid of the coefficient on the left side. We evaluate, simplify, and we get n equal to 3. So we solved for n here in the cost equation, and then we broke out the parts, and then we ended up with n, which was the number of scarves. So I want to make sure it's $10 each for scarves. Yep. Okay. So we had a cost. We had equation. All right. One more, and then we are done for the night. Dinner, or for our fans on the other side of the world, you may be going to sleep or just waking up. Eric has scores of 73, 82, and 83 on his history test. Use an inequality to find scores he can make on his final exam to receive a B in the class. The final exam counts as 2 tests, and a B is received if the final course average is greater than or equal to 80. Wow, that's a mouthful. Okay. So there's a couple things going on here. We've got, let's see, average equals 73 plus 82 plus 83. See, this is tough because the final exam counts as 2 tests. Oh, I see. So they weight it. Yep. Okay. Plus final exam. All right. So let's just let F equal the final exam score divided by 5. Okay. Since the final exam counts as 2 tests, the total number of tests for the average is 3 tests taken plus 2 for the final equals 5 tests. All right. So our average is just the total scores divided by the quantity, but we're adding 1 since the final counts as 2 exams. So we have average equal to, figure out what this is. I'm going off screen real quick. 238 plus F over 5. Average is 80 or more. So we have, we want this. 238 plus F divided by 5 is greater than or equal to 80. 80 or more means greater than or equal to. See the final, I'm not sure if they, oh, I see. They're going to double the score. I think I know what they're doing. They're weighting the final average. The total number of tests. So since the final exam is 1 test, 3 plus 4 multiply by 2 for F for the final score. Okay, so we've got 238 plus 2F. This should be 2F. This was worded kind of confusing. Divided by 4 is greater than equal to 80. Cross multiply. Just reverse this because I like the number on the right. 2f plus 238 is greater than or equal to 80 times 4. And this is 320. Okay, so we want to solve for f. I'm going to go off screen here real quick and steal the math from our calculator. Just going up here real quick. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is straight out of our calculator. 2f divided by 2 greater than or equal to 2 to the 41, which seems kind of odd. Yeah, you know what? Scrap what we just did. I'm going to need to go back because I don't know if they mean multiply this by 2 or divide by 2. So let me go back and see what they mean by this, and I'll cover this problem tomorrow.